Have you ever loved something so much that you just want to make it happen every day? Me neither. This is a podcast a day. Pod a day, doctor away, all that good stuff. 200. What am I saying? Wait. Am I carrying on with the number? I didn't actually think about this. You'll know this already, but like, because it's season 2, do I reset now to 200 to like 1, 2, 3, 4? No, I don't think I do. I think I just keep going. This is now 2. So this is weird because it's like season 2, but it's like season 2, 200. Like this is the 300th episode, I think, but it's like day 2. Anyway, pod a day, Dr. Word, trying to do a podcast every single day for a year. We failed to the first year. It was about 70 off. This year, let's try and get that down at least 60. I'll take that. Yeah, what we got written down. I mean, there's a couple things I've missed, obviously, because I kind of tried to I was trying to plan. My mind, my ideas were bigger than my stomach. Appetite was bigger than what I could actually do within myself, basically. With what I wanted to do, and I was just kind of think like, how do we change it up massively? What should I really do? Going into the new year, because I kind of just want to do everything more. I feel like New Year, I do get that. I am, drinking that Kool-Aid. I'm on that placebo. I'm feeling like I can. You go into the new year, and it actually does kind of make you think, oh yeah, I want to be better, work harder. I want to go at it stronger, faster, better. This sounds like a song I've heard before. That's kind of what you think. It kind of just happens. So I'm like trying to think and this and that, and then I kind of was like, oh, I'm like 60 episodes behind anyway, because like I started on the 23rd of December, and I kind of had this realization that we were behind basically by a lot. Like 10 days before that, so I was kind of just like, let's just stop now, reset, so I can kind of refresh, go into the new year, hit the ground running, backlog a little bit maybe, and just make sure we start it off how we means to be going ons, right? So therefore I sort of stockpiled some topics up a little bit I can talk about. Going into the new year for a podcast today, Dr. Way. It's great. How are you? Having a good time? So one of these things that not everything is like hot off the fucking press or whatever the phrase is. Some of it has been left to cook in the oven a little bit long, so you've probably heard of it. You probably know. That's fine. Jason Tindall. If you don't know who this is, you may not know who Jason Tindall is specifically in terms of who I'm talking about, but you'll know the Jason Tindall in your life. Someone who is the Jason. Like, you may not know. You may have not seen The Office or The Office UK, right? And you may not know specifically of David Brent, but you know of a David Brent in your life. You've went to a job and you've experienced David Brent within your life. Sorry, very different, distinguishing things there. Jason Tindall is the assistant. I don't actually know what he is, and this is part of the problem. I think he's like the assistant manager or something to Eddie Howe, who is Newcastle manager, and he is one of these guys who gets his face into everything and everywhere. It is sort of like Eddie Howe is the main guy. He's the manager. He's doing all the press conferences. But, you can play Where's Wally with it all, and Jason Tindall's face will always be there. On the touchline, the cameras will be panning around. Jason Tindall will be there. He's kind of like he is like a pro photo bomber. He is always in the background. Honestly, I don't know how many photos on your camera roll right now. Look through the background and look a little bit closer. You might just see Jason Tindall's face smiling back at you. And for some reason as well, I've never really dived into the Jason Tindall rabbit hole. So I've always watched it and like known of it from afar. I'm not really like actively outsourced any Jason Tindall content, because you don't need to. It brings itself to you. And today, for the first time, I actually clicked on a video where I heard him speak, and I can't be the only one who thought he was like Spanish or something, or thought he was foreign. I was so certain I was going to hear him speak and he was going to have an accent, and I get this is down to the fact he must be like tanning or something, because it's winter right now in the UK. He's up in Newcastle as well, so it's like that's more or less the Arctic up there, right? and he's got this sort of tan, he's got this Arteta sort of look about him. And like I had read this quote from something he said, and in my head I was reading it as like, "Hello guys, Merry Christmas, and you need a bottle." And any time I've ever read a quote from Jason Tindall in my head, I've read it with this vague, like non-regional European accent. Like I don't even have a place I can pin it down to. Just this like whatever accent. I've always read it like that. And then today, for the first time, I heard him speak, and he was just like, "Hey guys, I'm Jason Tindall," and it's just like, oh, he's just very English. And basically, the Jason Tindall today, they went to and I think he's trying to be charming. This is his thing. He's trying to be charming and smooth and clever. And they were at like a children's hospice or something, I'm trying to think. I can't think of a single charity, which makes me look bad. What's that cancer one? I don't know. But he was at like a children's hospital, like, because football teams do that. They'll go to a children's hospital around Christmas time, and they'll got their hats on, and it's like, we're spreading Christmas joy, I guess. And what did he say? He said, well, he was standing outside like a ward or whatever. Like, hey, by the way, why is anyone giving Jason Tindall the floor anyway? If anyone's speaking to close out the video of us at the children's hospital or to intro it or whatever, it should maybe be like Newcastle's captain or like the manager, not Jason Tindall. But he's closing out. He's doing his thing. He felt like he had something he had to say. It's the equivalent of like being at someone's wedding, and it's like, who wants to make a speech? When you're asking that, it's not really like you're opening the floor to anyone. It's kind of like you're saying, who wants to make a speech? In terms of like, very close, very, very close immediate family, or best man, bridesmaids, groomsmen type people. So if it's like, who wants to make a speech, and you're there, I don't know if you've seen the film Table 19, but like you're there because you're like 7 degrees of separation from that person. You're like, yep, and then you step up and you turn it into your own little like, little radio show thing up there. It's like, we can't tell you no, but we wasn't exactly asking you. So Jason Hiddle's like, I'll be the guy to do this. And in his charming way, or attempts to be charming, he's like, wishing you all a very, very Merry Christmas. Hopefully it's not your last. And on last, that's when the wink comes in, because he's a cheeky chappy. He is a charming geezer. Once again, wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Hopefully it's not your last. Wink. Charming, whatever. Bit weird actually to say now I double think about it. Wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Hopefully it's not your last. I guess on the surface it's a nice thing to say. Hopefully it's not your last. I guess you can extract that's like, yeah, sure, that's a nice thing to say. But the wink adds a bit of suspicion there. Did you put something in my drink, Jason Tindall? Did you tamper with my life support? Because once again, can I just remind you, he said this in a children's hospital. He didn't come around at a family function and say, Merry Christmas, everyone. Hopefully this isn't our last together or whatever. Here's to many more type thing, essentially, right? Saying that. Here's to many more is what a normal person would say. He's standing in a children's hospital where multiple children, this is their last, potentially, or like that's on the cards, and said, Merry Christmas. Hope this isn't your last, and then winked, not only suggesting that this may be your last Christmas, but this may be your last Christmas because of me. The wink really adds so much in there. Then, because it would be like just a like mildly weird / funny thing to say in a children's hospital anyway at Christmas time. Merry Christmas. I hope this isn't your last, right? But adding the wink just really adds sort of like evidence that you're involved if anything does go wrong. That is villain shit. It's funny because why would that be intentional? Of course it's unintentional. It's kind of like one of those things that you're trying to be charming and on a first interaction with someone, and then you start making up lies or something. They're like, oh, I'm from Kenya, and you're like, oh, I love Kenya, and they're like, oh, you've been here? Like, yeah, I've been. And they're like, oh, when'd you go? And you're like, a while ago with family. How long were you there for? 2 weeks when in Kenya you've got it's a long-ish flight, so you got to stay for 2 weeks. It's not that long actually. It's actually, deceptively quick. Oh, yeah, deceptively quick. That's what I thought. I hadn't traveled much at the time though, and you go into this lie because it's like for some reason it's like they just said to you, "Oh, you've been before," and it's like they showed excitement into something you've said or something, and like you feel like it will massively let them down if you're just like, "Oh no, I haven't." So instead you just keep going because you will feel this pressure of being in this environment. You're like, "Oh, I just got to keep," you know. I'm loosely trying to say that, saying this is like, Merry Christmas. It's like he didn't have a pre-written script. He's like, something smooth. Hopefully, it's not your last. Wink. Oh, I said that. Oh, and they're like, thanks, Jason. We got it. And they start walking away. You're like, do I tell them I want to do another take? Because they're gone. Moments passed. Now it's on Twitter type thing. That's how I imagine it going in my head. Yes. What else we got down here? This isn't really like worth talking about, really, but what I'm wearing right now is from the Chelsea website, like a remake of an old kit, basically. I really want to start buying like some actual old vintage Chelsea kits because obviously these ones are like just like what's the word, remake, yeah, but like it's got a name. But like it feels like the material feels like a modern day kind of kit in terms of feeling. It hasn't got a sponsor on it or anything, and I think that's because this sponsor was like an alcohol brand, maybe, and maybe now they can't put those as sponsors anymore, so they has to just have no sponsor on it. But it's like I want to kind of get like the old one because of this time. I feel like it wouldn't be this material, or maybe a little bit prior to this shirt, but like they look like they were made out of like fucking wool or cotton or some shit. But yeah, it's like it's an old school kit, right? They go about the place, and this, Kanye West posted a picture, and he was wearing like an old goalkeeper third choice kit from like the 90s or something, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? What's Kanye wearing? What the hell is Kanye doing in a Portsmouth kit from 1984?" Right? And everyone's blown away by this. And it's like I guess it's mild. It's kind of like, oh, there's a weird link there. Oh, that's kind of weird. Like Kanye West of Hollywood fame, but he's wearing a Portsmouth kit. Like what's I guess there's something like, oh, you wouldn't expect that. But like people were going crazy about this, like thinking it was so cool or whatever, as if this like confirms Kanye West as a massive Portsmouth fan, or if this like or as if like this suggests that Kanye has history of Portsmouth or went to a couple games, or his like uncle was a big Portsmouth fan and he got him this kit. And it's like, do you remember like when Americans come to England, they always say like they just find it weird how often they'll just see like people walking around in like college basketball shirts or like just really niche random American sports related teams or something like that, just wearing them. When it's like it's not because they support the team. It's like you probably walk around, and this is not a niche thing like Portsmouth would be. But like you probably have walked around wearing like a Brooklyn Nets or like a Yankees cap or like something before, and never thought about it as more of just like a little squiggle on the hat you're wearing. And it's just like a hat you want to wear. No association to the team. Never thought about the team. You're just wearing it because you liked it, or just because you've always had it, or just something like that, or you found it in like a fucking thrift shop or some shit, right? It's like Kanye West, wearing some vintage kit. It's just like probably just saw it, was like, oh, that's cool, that would go with this, and bought it. Probably doesn't even know where Portsmouth is. Probably thinks, for all he knows, Portsmouth is a mythical town, made up fiction. It's like it's not that interesting. It's not that crazy. It's not like Kanye has now pledged allegiance to Portsmouth. He's like a fashion guy, wearing old school kind of kits are kind of in right now. How many times you walk down the street, you just see English people wearing like basketball jerseys when they've never seen a single game or baseball or some shit. You just wear it because you think it's cool. I don't. That's just kind of it. But it was kind of just being like shipped out and sort of spread as it's like, what? Kanye, Portsmouth, goalkeeper, oh my god, Kanye West type thing. And it's like, sure. But yeah, no, I actually do want to get more kits though. More Chelsea ones. They're hard to find though, and you, obviously, if you're buying a kit that old now, it's like you're gonna have to. It's obviously going to be like some secondhand kit from eBay and shit. And it's like buying stuff, like when it's not just like a value thing. It's not just like this is how much this thing costs, and you see they're selling multiple versions. But like checking and one day it's like, oh, this is being sold for £60. Is that the price of it? That's one guy's price of it. Check back next week. Like, is that a great deal or are you getting ripped off? It's like one of these things. It's just like, I don't know. Makes it tricky. My back is absolutely killing me right now. Because I'm just leaning straight onto something that I guess shouldn't be leaned on for about 15 minutes. But this is Pod a Day, Doctor Away. Thank you very much. Episode 2 in the new year. Hope you're having a good one. Thank you very much, and goodbye.